Halo guys, suara saya kedengeran ya?
Kedengeran.
Oke. Sebentar saya share.
Oke, mantap. Slide-nya juga kelihatan.
Okay, thank you Mas Joshua for hosting this session, and thank you so much for spending your precious time this afternoon, guys. Really glad to have the opportunity to sharing in the session. Just want to make sure that you guys comfortable when joining this session. Should I use English as stated in the agenda, or will be better if I use bahasa? Just type in chat, I think.
Gimana teman-teman? Ada preferensi mungkin?
Both okay, alright.
Okay, mungkin do you prepare the presentation mainly in English or in Indonesia?
Yeah, mainly in English.
Mainly in English. Okay, so I think how about it will be better if you go with what you already prepared in English, but if there are questions in the future from people that will be asked in Indonesian, then I will translate it in English.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, great.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, the topic that I'll bring in this session is about how to define and implement service level objectives, or SLO. Also, I think it will be best if I create a little bit a poll, like how familiar are you with SLO? Just type in chat. Is that just the first time you heard about SLO, or you guys ever heard about SLO but never implemented, or you already implemented the SLO right now? Okay, while seeing the answer from you, I think a little bit of introduction. I'm Riky, currently working on SRE team here at HappyFresh. HappyFresh is an online groceries platform in Southeast Asia. Our HQ office absolutely in Jakarta. And our objectives is, as an SRE is already making sure the reliability and security of our systems. And also we are managing most of our cloud services. Yeah, I think it's a quite a new role in Southeast Asia, but I think it's more related to DevOps, right? Yeah, it's more debate about DevOps versus SRE, right? This is the outline for today's session. The first thing is I talk about what is actually the service level objectives. The second is how to define and implement the SLO. The third is how to operationalize the SLO after defining and implemented it. The next is what is the advanced practices that commonly used for SLO. And lastly, I think it would be better if I show you how HappyFresh implemented SLO. Okay, ever heard of it, but haven't get to the deep of it. Okay, thanks. Okay, the first thing is what is the service level objectives. It all starts from, the famous site reliability engineering concept that created by Google in the midst of 20s. There is a quote in one of these books says that SRE is what happens when you ask a software engineer to design an operation teams, right? Yeah, I was a software engineer still that runs operation teams here at HappyFresh. That is being said that SRE has an intentionally focus on keeping services and platform available to customer, like maintaining the service reliability and security. So one of the famous concepts from those books are the service level objectives. So there is three main terminology related to SLO. The first thing is SLA. I think most of us already know about SLA. This is the service level agreement, the agreement that the company make with your client or users. The second is service level objectives, or SLO. This is the objectives that your team must be hit to meet the agreement regarding it that your company have SLA or not. It's the way we measure the level of reliability of our services. And the third is the SLIs, the service level indicators. It is the real number on your performance, like availability, like performance, like latency, etc. So the simple basic is SLA is about promising something to customer, right? And SLO is the goal that we should achieve in our team. And SLI is how we measure, or how did we do the measurement. So why we should have SLO in general? This is something that benefiting all stakeholders, like we from product or engineering. The focus is how to prioritizing and building functionality, but by having the SLO, the value is, we can make data-driven way to focus engineering resources. From operation perspective, the focus is minimizing the business risk, right? By having the SLO value, we help the dev team increase velocity without sacrificing quality. And from the business perspective, it's actually protecting customer experience and money. And by having the SLO value, it is like showing the leading instead of lagging indicator to the board, like also the key stakeholders. So the next thing is how to define and implement the SLO. It is just 3-step, simple step, I think. The first thing is just list down all the critical user journeys that we have in our services. 2 is to construct the SLIs, and 3, determine the SLO. I'll talk about it in the next slide. So the first thing is list down the critical user journeys. So what is actually the critical user journeys? I think it may be different in every organization, in every company. Basically, in e-commerce website, there is some critical user journey that like showing homepage of web application, users sign in through mobile applications, user can add to cart an item with multiple quantity, or user can see their transaction history in the last like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So just list down all the critical user journey that you have, and you want to make sure it's reliability. The second step is construct the SLI. If you guys already have the monitoring tools like profiling or observability tools in general, maybe you already have some metrics like availability or performance things, like traffic, how much the error rate, how much the latency of a specific transaction. Or you maybe have the durability metrics, like how resilient is your services to data loss. If you guys haven't yet monitoring tools or haven't yet the metrics, maybe start by constructing the metrics, like shipping the logs or distributed tracing, etc. Yeah, and the third is determining the SLO. This is some aspect that we should consider when determining SLO. The first thing is make it measurable. Don't determine something that not measurable, such as 100 millisecond latency for sign-in, maybe, or 99.9% availability of your homepage. something like that. And then allow some space for the SLO. I think having 100% is a wrong target. It's very costly. It's nearly impossible. We should have a maintenance window for downtimes. We should have deployment. We do A/B tests. Yeah, something like that, maybe causing downtime to our systems, and it's popularly called error budget. The third thing is be clear on what you promise. For example, 99.9% of the time, you should average it over like 10 minutes or an hour. And the last thing is consider product and business implication, because setting the right objectives for SLO. So because setting the SLO are not purely technical, right? We should involve the product manager, the product owner, or maybe the CTO, maybe the CFO, and other stakeholders. Yeah, this is just an example of creating one simple SLO. I take an example of critical user journey. User sign in through mobile application. We have two SLO, which is 99.99% availability. It means that we allow for 0.01% of unavailable, maybe for maintenance, maybe for unplanned downtime, maybe for A/B tests, etc. And we have the second SLO, which is 100 millisecond latency for 99% of the time. It means that we allow 1% of transaction goes more than 100 millisecond. Something like maybe he's not in a good connection, or maybe there is bottleneck in our databases. Maybe it's we use a lot of third-party services. Maybe it's some downtime in our third-party services. And then if we have SLI, it's more easy to setting up SLO. But if you guys haven't yet the SLI, maybe you should start shipping the metrics or logs for creating the SLI. For example, for availability, I think the best to measure that availability is by calculating the response code, HTTP response from maybe load balancer. We calculate the success response over the overall traffic. And we measure the latency by response time, also from load balancer, calculated by response time that having 100 or less over all the traffic. Yeah, I think it's just a simple example. After we have an SLO, after we agree on our SLO, I think the next thing is to operationalize the SLO. So what we can do to operationalize the SLO? First is having a regularly operational meeting with cross-functional team to review SLO. Is our SLO already enough, or maybe want to enhance, or maybe our performance is violating SLO, something like that. The second is capturing commentary or discussion around SLO violation or trend. For example, in a last week, we have an outage, we have a downtime, and we should discuss it and commentary. And if it's violation the SLO, I think it should be maybe fix the tag that, or prioritizing the work or backlog that we already have. The third is tracking follow-up action item from SLO violation. We do like, after an incident, we do like having a post-mortem meeting or creating post-mortem report. And in that post-mortem, we actually list down all the action items that we should do to prevent the incident from happen in the future. And lastly is we can report on SLO to management or the product team to validate prioritization of engineering investment. Like maybe the product guy said that we should build more features, but we realized that in our system we have a lot of tech debt, a lot of bug fix that we haven't tried. And the last thing is, what is the SLO practices that maybe doesn't come in the first place, but it's good to have, and it's more advanced in adoption in your organization. The first thing, we can alerting on error budget, something like when the error budget consumption is more than an X%, then create an alert through Slack or through whatever the notification system, so that the team can check it and preventing the SLO violation in the end of the time window. The second is create a composite SLO. What is composite SLO? It is the SLO that combine between more than one SLI. Like maybe we have a critical user journey that flow through more transaction, like through different services to different stack, and we have one SLO that measure it. The third is treating SLO violation as incident. You know, incident is defined like the server is down, the database is down, when the uptime is lower than your SLO. But by treating SLO violation as incident, it's more lesson learned that we should take. And the last is correlating changes to SLO. Like maybe the consumption of our error budget is nearly 100%, which will violate the SLO. I think by correlating changes to SLO, let's say our dev team is want to deploy the feature, but the error budget is quite close to 100%. We as an SRE can say that stop deploying that feature. Maybe we can pay the tech debt first. Okay, I think I just explaining what we do at HappyFresh when implementing the SLO. So at HappyFresh, we use event-based calculation instead of time-based calculation. What it means that when we calculate availability, we don't calculate the time, like 30 minutes outage, like 5 minutes downtime. Instead, we calculate based on all transaction, all requests that comes to our services. And we using UpDex to measure performance. So yeah, you know, UpDex, the standard measurement for performance. I think some of the observability tools like New Relic, Datadog, or the others is use UpDex too. And we use 7 days time window SLO. So after the 7 days, we reset the SLO. So we have an error budget reset to 0%. In addition to that, we also operationalize the SLO by having SLO compliant dashboard for every service. So every dev team they could see the dashboard and how well their service is, how the performance of their service is there the outage impacted the SLO or not. Uh, Another thing is we held bi-weekly SLO review meeting with tech leads, so we can like prioritizing or yeah, maybe making sure our system stability more than feature velocity. You can read more on in this Medium post. We write down the detail in this post. And last is we also practices some advanced SLO practices here at HappyFresh. The first thing is we alerting the error budget consumption to Slack so that the dev team can see when some percent of error budget is consumed. And we also utilize the composite SLO. Let's say we have a critical user journey of opening the home screen. Actually, in the backend system, to open up the home page, it flows through different services, like maybe 3 or 5 services. So we have an SLO that combine the 3 or the 5 services. So also you can read more on this Medium post. Okay, I think that's all from me. Is there any question?
So much, Mas Riky, for the presentation. A really interesting topic that is really near to us working on a daily basis, both as a software engineer, and I think it's even nearer when you're working as SRE/DevOps or infra engineer.
Yeah.
So yeah, any questions for Mas Riky, specifically on SLO? You can ask about written in chat, or you can ask to share your audio, video. If you want to ask directly to Mas Riky, you can ask both in Bahasa Indonesia or English. I will.
Yeah, sure.
Translate it. Any questions? Yeah, if there's no question, I think I got one question for Mas Riky, if that would be okay with you.
Boleh, Mas. Jangan yang susah-susah ya.
Yeah, I'm curious whether do you have any past experience or event on perhaps HappyFresh, if there was a mismatch or of expectations or alignment cross department, perhaps from the product or engineering, compared to what the operations or business department have kind of expectations. Perhaps they have this level of expectation, and there's just things that you can't fulfill on because it's not visible on a product and engineering point of view. Do you have any past experience like that, and how do you resolve that kind of thing?
It happened a lot, actually. Yeah. So basically, when we want to adopt SLO, right? We should gather all the stakeholders, not only from product or tech, but already from operation or business side. So they have a perspective or same understanding about what is the level of SLO that we agree. Currently, we haven't yet like SLA for our customer because we haven't established the best measurement for SLO, because when we want to establish the SLA for customer, we want to make sure that the internal process is already done, right?
Right.
Now, how to fill the gap between the other department expectation and our capabilities or our performance. It's so basically it's out of topic, but in HappyFresh we have a tech team we call tech ops.
Okay.
It's different from operation or system administration or infrastructure. It's a team that can like fix the issue that other departments problem, or just maybe there is a customer that cannot proceed the payment. So this team is responsible to fix that by communicating the issue to dev team, communicating issue to other department. So basically we have operation like dev and ops, and we have tech ops that communicate with other department. I think that that team quite filling the gaps between department expectation and our capabilities.
Okay, so yeah, a specific team to bridge, to communicate between the stakeholders.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Great. Any questions for those of you in the breakout session room? Okay.
Okay, I want to ask something about how you initiate incident reporting on the HappyFresh side, from the incident creation until it's affect the measurement of the SLO. Can you tell it condensed?
Okay, actually, we haven't have a process that like incident response management that well defined, but it's more manual and semi-automatic. When incident comes, like from production support team or from alert, we have an automation like Slack app that we create. Just tell the Slack app to create an incident, and our team firefighting to fix the issue. Also, the Slack app tells the stakeholders that there is an issue, update the status pages, create a postmortem report. After the firefighting, we held a postmortem meeting and create a postmortem report. After that, all of our stakeholders knows that there is an incident and what is the root cause. Yeah, pretty much all the detail about the incidents is in postmortem report, because it links to our dashboard that correlate, and it connect also to our SLO dashboard. So when the stakeholders want to know what is the root cause, what is the impact of our incidents, they can see all on the postmortem report. But the challenge is how to write the postmortem report that can be understood by all people. Yeah, like we all the geeks, right? it's our challenge. It's our challenge actually.
Okay. Any follow-up question or response from Mas Tony? Or did I answer your question?
Actually, that's very good question. Thank you, Mas Tony.
Yeah. There's time for one other question from you folks in the room. Yeah. Do you tweak that SLO when there's a particular event, perhaps like 11 or 12 kind of that, and how do you tweak that? Yeah, how do you tweak numbers?
Yeah, actually we don't tweak the numbers, but it's not a special event that we should tweak the number, but it's the more on the history of our SLO, right? Like maybe 99.49 is very high for these services. We cannot do that now. By the time we lower the SLO. and to maintaining the dev healthiness.
Yeah, so you change the SLO a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I think SLO is not a static standard. It's very dynamic. You can change every time you need.
Right. So yeah, I think it's the end of Mas Riky session. Thank you so much for a really great topic and explanation. For those of you who are interested more on the particular topic of SLO, perhaps Mas Riky can post on the chat the link to the both of the two Medium posts, right? Yeah, or if you have further questions, you can ask Mas Riky on the Hopin direct messages. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much, Mas Riky, for the presentation. Pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Mas Joshua. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day.